You know, in the history of football, you've got your giants, the names everybody knows. But what about the giants who've been, well, almost completely forgotten? Today, we're going to dive into the incredible story of a club that was once the undisputed king of Italian football, before pretty much vanishing for nearly 100 years. Okay, so, look at this number. 7. That's 7 top-flight Italian league titles. Now, when you see that, who do you think of? Juventus, maybe? AC Milan? Inter? One of the big clubs from Rome? Well, you might want to prepare yourself for this one.
And there it is, Pro Vercelli. Yep, tied for the 5th most championships in the entire history of Italian football. That's level with huge clubs like Bologna and Torino. Get this, they have more titles than Roma, Lazio, and Napoli combined. And yet, be honest, unless you're a serious historian of Italian football, you've probably never heard their name.
So that brings us to the big mystery we're unpacking today. Who are Pro Vercelli? And how on earth does a 7-time national champion just disappear from the top of the game?
So, meet Football Club Pro Vercelli 1892. They're from the small city of Vercelli in the Piedmont region. Now this club is old, founded way back in 1892, with the football side kicking off in 1903. Their nickname? I Leoni, the Lions. And believe me, for a while there, they were the most ferocious lions in the entire country.
Their story takes us back to a true golden age, and it's really no exaggeration to call them one of football's very first super clubs. I mean, their dominance in the early days of the sport was just absolute. Just look at this incredible run. They win their first championship in 1908. Then they immediately go back-to-back in 1909. By 1913, they'd won a staggering 5 championships in just 6 seasons. Their 7th, and as it turns out, their final title, came in 1922. This wasn't just a winning streak. This was a flat-out dynasty that basically defined the first era of Italian football.
They were so iconic, they earned another nickname, Le Bianche Casache, which just means the white shirts. You know, think about Real Madrid's legendary all-white kits, right? How they just scream royalty. Well, Pro Vercelli's simple white shirts, that was the same deal back then. It was a statement of class, of power, of being completely untouchable.
But you know how these stories go. As quickly as that empire was built, it started to crumble. The football world was changing, and Pro Vercelli, the kings of the old world, were about to get left behind. So, what on earth happened?
And this right here, this explains everything. See, the era that Pro Vercelli dominated, it was all about amateur players and pride from small towns. But then, boom, professionalism hits the sport. Big city teams from industrial powerhouses like Milan and Turin, suddenly backed by big money, started to take over. And a small town club, well, they just couldn't compete.
And boy, was the fall swift. Their last ever season in Serie A, the top flight of Italian football, was all the way back in 1934-35. After that, they were relegated and they would never come back. Just gone from the top flight. An absolutely unimaginable fall from grace. And what came next was, well, pretty much a century of pain. They got relegated from Serie B, the second division, in 48. Then they fell even further, dropping all the way into the amateur leagues, Serie D, on multiple occasions. For decades, the 7-time champions were basically a ghost in professional Italian football.
But wait, if you think that's dramatic, the story gets even weirder. I mean, the decline was one thing, but then you have the club's death, and its truly unbelievable rebirth. Honestly, this next part is a straight-up football and ghost story.
Okay, you gotta follow this because it's wild. In 2006, a brand new rival team pops up in the very same town. Fast forward to 2010, and the original, historic Pro Vercelli goes bankrupt. It's done. It officially folds. Then, that new rival club, Pro Belvedere, takes the empty spot in the professional league. And here is the absolutely crazy part. They then buy the name, the badge, the colors, and the entire history, all 7 championships, of the dead club. So the rival team literally becomes the team it was created to compete with. And that was the whole point. This wasn't just some corporate takeover. It was this bizarre, desperate, and ultimately successful attempt to make sure that the name of a 7-time champion of Italy didn't just vanish from the history books forever. So now we have this reborn club, right? This new entity. And the fight? Well, it starts all over again. The modern era for Pro Vercelli has been nothing short of chaotic, thrilling, and often heartbreaking roller coaster ride.
After that rebirth, they actually achieved something pretty incredible. This number, 64. That's how many years they spent in exile from the top two tiers of Italian football. Think about that. For more than 6 decades, they were just lost in the wilderness of the lower leagues.
Their journey since has been a total yo-yo. In 2012, after 64 years away, they do it. They make this miraculous return to Serie B. But then, they get relegated the very next season. Incredibly though, get this, they bounced straight back up in 2014 before getting relegated again in 2018. It has been a constant, exhausting battle for survival.
Which brings us right up to today. The reborn Pro Vercelli is currently fighting it out in Serie C, the third tier of Italian football. Still fighting, more than a century after they last stood on top of the world.
And it all leaves you with this one big, fascinating question. When you consider their incredible history, their dramatic fall, their bizarre death and rebirth, and their modern-day fight, can these lost lions of Italian football ever, somehow, find a way to roar at the very top again?